The Brotherhood is a threat for two reasons. First, it is a terrorist organization. It's fundamentally the feeder organization for all major terrorist organizations, especially Al-Qaeda. Their ideas are, simply put, to establish a global caliphate using Sharia law as a basis for all society. That's incompatible with the Constitution and several other bodies of law which I'm familiar with. So that's the first issue. But their methodology is a bit different than Al-Qaeda. It's much softer. It's a softer method of using things like the media, deception, denial, and criminal enterprises against the very targets they're trying to bring over. The Muslim Brotherhood has been very effective in creating a counter-narrative here in the United States to make people look away, that they're not a terrorist organization. Well, in effect, what they've done is been able to burrow into the criminal underbelly of the United States for purposes of using our own criminal elements against us for purposes of their insinuation into our political process. It's very insidious and it's very low-key, it's very under the radar. Most people don't even understand that the reason that the Brotherhood was declared a terrorist organization in Egypt was for this very issue. They were trying to take over very quietly, very sneakily, all sorts of the elements of governments and governance for purposes of creating a caliphate, creating an Egypt which would have been run under Sharia law, where women are subjugated, considered second-class citizens, children are beaten as part of their education, and everybody has to bow to Allah. And there's no free thought, there's no free thinking, it's very extreme. So the Brotherhood is not like Al-Qaeda by the fact they don't blow people up most of the time, but they do attempt to use all elements of society to convince people that they are not a threat. All the time they're doing that, they're trying to undermine the very society which they want to eventually take over. Some of the way the Muslim Brotherhood has used methods to get inside of the American minds is to show that they are, quote-unquote, moderates. Things like CARE, the Council on Islamic American Relations, is a Brotherhood front. And all the time, what they're trying to do is divert attention from the most hideous acts of Islam's violence and saying there's nothing to see here, this does not represent Islam. Well, of course it does. What they do is try to prevent us from looking at and dealing with that radical Islamic element to cut it out. What they're trying to do is basically justify its existence and allow it to do more globally, to undermine other Western societies. And here in the United States, they're trying to do things to quietly undermine and get Sharia law in little places like Detroit, little places like Minneapolis, where little cells set up and nothing to see here. Fundamentally, though, these things cannot exist. You cannot have Sharia law in any form in the United States by the fact that it completely contradicts the Constitution. But they will tell you, the Muslim Brotherhood would tell you, it's not a threat to the Constitution, and it's just a religious methodology. It is not religion, it is politics. I frankly urge all of you to contact your members of Congress, both the House and Senate, and encourage them to support the legislation now before the Congress to designate the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization, just like it's been done in Egypt and other Arab nations. We have to understand the Muslim Brotherhood is a threat to our sovereignty and our way of life, our Constitution. So please contact your elected politicians and ask them to act.